Ellen McCauley at Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. And I asked for the members to put little ideas in the Pray It Off box over here on topics. And one of the members said, what do you do when your friends and family don't support your healthy lifestyle? And I thought that was especially a good one. And tonight I want to talk about that to the group today. In a nice way, you can share with those loved ones the why. Like, you know, maybe your husband's not being supportive. Let's start with him and say, you know, I just wanted to share with you that I know you want me to, make, corned beef and cabbage and some Easter bread and have things, but I will, because I know you'd like that. It makes you happy at Easter. But I'm going to choose to eat some other things. I'm concerned about my health and my blood pressure. And I know you love me so much that you want to be around me as we grow older together. So my why is that I love those grandkids and I love the children and I want to grow old together. And if your husband says, well, I don't care about that, you're eating the corned beef and the bread, I don't think he'll say that. No. And if he does, then you have a bigger problem than your weight. So the thing is, usually what'll happen is some sabotage. Now my mother was a beautiful woman, and my father was a handsome man, but he was Irish. He's kind of jealous. He thought everyone wanted my mother. So she was still, we were all big people, and she was a little chunky when we were, growing up. And whenever she would decide to lose weight, the next day my father would bring home a dozen donuts. Oh. Or a half gallon of buttered pecan ice cream. He was a real saboteur with my mother's weight loss. Now this says nothing about my mother, it says a lot about him. The thing is, my mother didn't have to eat the donuts. She didn't have to eat the ice cream just because someone brings it in the house. And there's a difference. Many people in the group said, my husband gave me a box of chocolates for Valentine's Day. And I'm like, oh, and you donated them to the food pantry? And they're like, well, no, I had to eat them. I'm like, you had to? People use that word a lot in this group. I had to have the pizza. I had to have this. Some occasions, maybe I'll give you the had, but you did not have to eat the box of chocolates. And there's the difference. You wanted to. And there's nothing wrong with wanting, but don't say you had to. Say I wanted to, I chose to. Also be open about your struggles. Here's the problem. So many of our friends and families don't believe our weight loss journey because quite often we don't believe it ourselves because we failed and tried and failed and tried and failed and tried. And so then we say, yeah, I'm Pray It Off and I'm going to lose weight. And they're like, yeah, like you did since 2010. Yeah, you didn't really do it very good then. They don't believe us because we don't believe it ourselves. The proof is in the action. You keep doing it, you start looking good, you start feeling good, you say, oh, well, I think she's serious this time. I think he or she really means it. So then they start supporting you a little bit more. And also, if you need support, you have to ask for it. If you overeat and are stressed because you're working all day and coming home and making gourmet meals for your family, you know, I had an at-home business for 10 years, and I did it all. I did the business, I grocery shopped, I cooked, we had 4 kids at home, I cleaned, I laundry, did it all. And then in 2010, I said, when, the kids were growing up and I was going back into the, 9 to 5 routine, Bob and I sat down and said, the kids are grown, we just had 1 at home, which was easy, 4 to 1, are you kidding? Piece of cake. And we said, okay, let's talk about it. He's like, well, I like cooking. Let me try that. You say, I need help now. Oh, no, this other one does. And do they do it the same as you? If you give Bob a list and he goes to the store, nobody's a better shopper than him. But he'll get exactly what's on that list. I go to the store and it's like 2 carts full and then out I go. I think it's better that he goes to the store, because I'm like, ooh, that looks good. Ooh, I want that. How about that? Also, remember that sometimes it's just not about you. If your husband is chunky also, and you are chunky, he's afraid that you're going to make him try to lose weight. And maybe he's not ready mentally. And you have to say to him, honey, I love you just the way you are, and I know you love me. I'm doing this for me. And you wouldn't believe how many times Bob and I have different foods. He doesn't like salmon. I want to marry it. So he'll have haddock, I'll have salmon. When there's like a few different menu options, you don't have to eat the same thing as the other people. You can have something different. Also, you can only change yourself. You can only change yourself. Say that. You can only change yourself. How often do we spend a lifetime trying to change other people? Their reaction to your journey should not affect your journey, because this is your journey. Also, don't preach to them and don't judge. If I was in a restaurant and you were at the next table and I went over to say hello and you had a hot fudge sundae and pizza and wings and chips, I would say, it's so good to see you. I would not say a word about your food choices. I would not do that. But when you hand in your log, it better all be on. Oh, yeah. And something else, I don't judge. There, but for the grace of God. How many times have I been in a restaurant and over the years, and I'm like, well, I'm going to have, a salad with dressing on the side, and I'm going to have a little piece of fish. I'll have the chicken riggies, please. You think what you're going to order, and then you just, you go off the deep end. Also, find a community that supports you. Isn't that what Pray It Up is?
Yes.
Also, the next article, more tips. Make your feelings known. We already said that. Keep the junk food out of sight. Oh my gosh, what's it doing in your house? And if you say, I got young children, get them things you really don't like. I would not eat a gummy if I was starving. I don't like the feel of a gummy anything. If it's a gummy vitamin, I won't take it. I don't like gummies. So, here, you want a gummy? Here, I wouldn't eat it. Find something you do not like. Also, make those substitutes. Bob doesn't like salmon, he likes haddock. He has haddock, I prefer salmon. Use an app. Katie uses an app. Emily uses an app. They print out their food log from the app and hand it in. Some people like apps. Use one if you like it. Keep a weight loss journal. There's a new member in the group who is doing incredibly. And that new member thinks the log is the greatest thing she's ever worked with. She goes, why didn't I do this before I joined the group? It's so great. Also, use smaller plates. I make a decision that I will not have seconds, and I don't. That's what gets me, the seconds. Just have your first and you know what, Beck? When you say to yourself, let's say you're having a healthy goulash, with cauliflower rice and ground turkey and some tomatoes, and it's so delicious, and you want more, you say to yourselves, there will be other goulashes. In my life, there will be other ones. I do not have to eat it all today. Drink lots of water, but be careful about that if you don't have access to a bathroom. Also, always focus on what you can eat, not what you can't. I love mixing up the Brussels sprouts and the cauliflower and the sweet potatoes, and really think about the foods you're eating. I'm going to stop right there, Bobby, and whip through the next one.